Darling, your beauty might be the reason he won't commit to you. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why being the woman every man wants often leaves you as the woman no man chooses, and the specific steps you need to take to finally become the woman he commits to. Because I've seen this pattern in many of the women I've helped, and I've also lived parts of it myself. So let's get into 4 points that will change the game for you. The misunderstanding of desire versus choice. Many women grow up hearing, you're beautiful, you're a catch, any man would be lucky to have you. And maybe that's you or who you aspire to be. I heard that too, especially after my divorce. I had a glow up. I was young, slim, and makeup artist in the Harrods of London, based in the prestigious Whitehall. Getting a spot there was like winning a beauty pageant, especially since I was the only black woman for a very long time. I got attention from men across the spectrum, old money, new money, affluent men, right down to blue collar work. I was inundated with options, expensive dates, men going all out, even flying from other countries just for a date. But when it came to commitment, that was a completely different story. When it came to being chosen for something serious or meaningful, I found myself begging every time. I was so confused. Surely all this attention would naturally lead to being chosen for long-term commitment, right? That's the misunderstanding. A man can desire you, pursue you, even at an obsession level, and still not choose you for a real relationship. Being wanted is not the same as being chosen. You need to be aware that a man can find 100 women attractive and not find one suitable for long-term relationship. When it comes to choosing a partner, his standards go up. He chooses the woman that is high value, feminine, the woman that fits into his life, his plans, his future. The woman he chooses for a long-term relationship is the one he meets when he is relationship ready, who makes him feel respected, admired, and aligned with his future plans. Remember, relationship ready masculine men know what they want for their lives. They interview women for relationships that are aligned, while quietly, happily indulging in the other options before them, sexually or energetically enjoying your feminine energy. And beautiful women are seldom taught this crucial difference. So now you know. Point 2. When a man sees a beautiful woman, it often triggers excitement, pursuit, and intensity. He wants to win you. He wants to access you. He feels highly stimulated by you. I remember asking a guy friend, is it possible for a man to feel intoxicated by a woman and not want to commit on a deeper level? What he said left me in shock. In the middle of this social event we were at, he said, you know, Chengi, 99% of the time as men, we feel excited, intoxicated, stimulated. But out of all those instances, only 1 in 1,000 we actually go deeper with. That response changed how I viewed the male pursuit forever, at least the high-value male pursuit. I learned from that day that feeling is not the same as commitment. Pursuit is one thing, building is another. Commitment lives deeper than excitement. It lives in stability, safety, and readiness. The excitement he feels is a surge of dopamine, the chemical of pursuit, excitement, and reward. He wants you, he's drawn to you, he feels alive around you. But dopamine is about chasing, not keeping, protecting, or building. Commitment lives somewhere deeper. Here's the lesson. A beautiful woman must see through this and recognize that the pursuit is not driven by anything deeper. She must assess her readiness, require at least 90 days of consistency before she even contemplates being intimate or over-giving emotionally or even energetically, until he begins to lead with definite exclusivity and commitment contracts. That simply means he asks you to be his girlfriend, his woman, his fiance, his wife, but that part will be up to you. Point number 3. The beautiful woman's blind spot is this. Because you are used to being chosen first, you've never had to question, why is he choosing me? Why is he choosing me? Short story. In high school, I had a friend who was, to be kind, average looking. Boys would make fun of her looks and even bully her. I didn't evaluate her beauty, but I knew she was not the belle of the ball. Yet she always had a boyfriend. She once slipped and said, I don't really care if a man is using me to get to my friend. I will use his interest in her to get him for myself. I will let him think he will get my friend, and then I'll work my way into his heart until he chooses me. What she meant was that she would appeal to his emotions, tell him that I wasn't interested, and place herself as the best possible romantic option. In other words, she mastered the art of building emotional connection and attraction in men so that her looks would be secondary. I later figured she had to paint me as the beauty with an inflated ego to achieve this. Her plan was actually genius. Think about it. How many average women have to think strategically to get the commitment a beautiful woman would struggle to get? While my friend's tactics were devious and yes, deplorable, she clearly had mastered the art of connecting with the soul of a man. She figured the deepest need men had was to be desired and respected, and she realized that if she let him think he was being rejected by the one he desired, then became the one who made him feel desired, she would win. And she did. Kind of like that friend that ran off with your boyfriend, your husband, your partner. Wink, wink. Yeah, her. A beautiful woman rarely understands this emotional need for a man because she is often the one being desired, managing attention from a majority of undesirable men, whilst other women can focus, learn, and become what he needs. This is something no one ever taught a beautiful woman. This is where a beautiful woman always loses. She continues to compete on looks when the playing field has moved to a place she's not equipped for. The women who didn't grow up being celebrated for their beauty naturally and unconsciously develop premier mating skills that win the guy almost every time. The lesson here is that a beautiful woman should take full advantage of being noticed and picked first, yet date as though she were the most unattractive woman in the room. Not with a low self-esteem, but with a deep understanding of male psychology when it comes to long-term commitment. She will never have to resort to the depths of humility other women may need, but she's not exempt from the art of winning his respect and capturing his heart. Ask yourself, how would you date if your looks were just not available to you? Then get your behind inside the My Soulmate Lux program, where I will teach you everything you need to know. But seriously, ask yourself that question. If your looks are not available, how would you date? Point 4, recognizing his insecurity. Beauty can deeply trigger a man's insecurity and makes him sabotage a perfectly good connection. Sometimes it's not you, girl. It's not your fault. It's his nervous system struggling to regulate around his unworthiness wounds. I've been there too. A few years ago, I dated a beautiful man who had everything to offer a woman. He was talking marriage pretty early with a great deal of certainty, as men tend to do when they start to date me. It was that dopamine though. Then after a few months, he called me to tell me that he didn't think he could give me what I deserved. He started telling me that I deserved luxury trips to expensive resorts and all sorts of things I'd never brought up or alluded to. I was genuinely confused. I had no idea what he was talking about. And at the time, it did not occur to me that he was self-sabotaging, that this was a self-sabotage signal I needed to pay attention to. I reassured him that I was really interested in him as a man, but things were not the same. He had an obsession with impressing me and buying me things. And again, I didn't pay attention to the signs that he had an unworthiness wound. He had been with a beautiful woman, had a gorgeous baby girl with her, and she had ended it and moved on. Even though he was incredibly attractive and accomplished, that experience took its toll. And when I heard about his relationship with his mother, I realized this was a wound he had carried his whole life. Well, what started off as an attempt to please me became full-blown sabotage. He began to project disrespect, accusing me of being disrespectful in normal conversations, and I am very watchful of how I speak to men because I know better. And creating moments of insecurity and unsafety, I realized that there was nothing I could do to heal his insecurities, and sadly, I walked away. Beautiful, my darling. A man's insecurities are not something you can heal. When insecurities arise on his side, the best course of action is to recognize them early, set boundaries, and/or walk away when necessary. Otherwise, you stop being a real woman to him and become a projection of his fear. And this will only lead to a series of dead-end dating dynamics, which I'm certain you're done with. So here's the truth. Your beauty is not the core problem, but the way you interpret male attention is the problem. If you lack discernment, beauty may open doors, but discernment is what keeps you in the right room. And this is where we go deeper in my next video, because avoiding insecure men is just not enough. You also need to understand how men actually form attachment and what makes them stay. So click here or down below and learn how men form attachment and how to make him stay for good. I will see you there. And in the meantime, do take care of you. Love you lots. Bye.